Hey there, everybody. We're back after a quick break. It's your boy, Oliver V, back again. But down below me, we got the immaculate, we got the prestigious Doc DeLeo. Doc, you got to have a little bit of a break after chaining through a couple of rounds earlier on in this event. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. I had the chance sit down, get a little bit of refreshment into me, get ready for the last slog. I always love coming up into the finals, and the lower bracket finals this year are looking very, very good. Either way, we're going to have a Delver archetype moving into the finals, which is going to be really interesting since Tensai's deck has been just eating Delver all today. So I'm interested coming into these finals, but I'm really interested to see what unique twist on Blue Red Delver is going to take out the other.
Yeah, actually, let's real quick where we're getting the players ready to start. We can talk about the differences in this list. So, needless to say, our superior meme lord, Eternally Surprised, did come to us today with a 61 card list. Oh my goodness, just fantastic. And is
Oh,
running in
it's
a list that is,
61?
yes, it's
Oh,
61 cards with a main deck dressed down. Well,
that's
meanwhile,
just
Rax
incredible.
also has a really interesting build. They're both players are going with the exact same creature base, right? They're playing the four Delvers, the four DRCs, two Young Pyromancers, and Murktide Regents. However, there's the Eternally Surprised is playing an additional Brazen Borrower, which has just been clutch in all of the games. He played against Reanimator twice, AHG earlier, and then me, where it was just fantastic. And then it also came up as a super relevant card up against Prez earlier on. The other big difference, of course, is Drax is running two Tarfires, which may be one of the coolest things I've seen in a while. Tarfire, of course, being a shock that just makes Delirium go a little bit faster, right? Gives that tribal count to make Delirium hit up. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. There's a lot more nuance between these lists once we actually get to the sideboards. Some similarities again, right? Blood moons, meltdowns, right? Kind of the typical things that you would aim for. But we'll be able to talk a little bit more about the sideboards later on. Looking at these main decks, we've already talked about this. The Delver mirror is so skill intensive. It's so much about leveraging resources, and really that factor of tempo is huge, right? Who's absolutely going to be the one who's applying pressure and who has to take the control role. But who do you think, just looking at these lists, who do you think's gonna be more advantaged?
So I like to look at in these matchups who has the higher density of removal spells because that's what's going to come down to. Back in the day, we always said whoever flips the Delver first wins, and this time I don't know if that's true. You know, when we had the Dreadhorde Arcanist days, whoever controlled the Dreadhorde Arcanist won. Looking at the fact that Rax is running the full four bolts, the two Tarfire, and I'm not seeing any other. Yep, that's it it for removal spells, while Surprise is running the four full lightning bolts and the only one chain lightning.
There is the petty
So
theft. There's the petty
for the
theft that
petty
does count for,
theft,
and of note is absolutely amazing when dealing with opposing Murktide's main board. And that's honestly the
definitely.
reason when just looking at these lists alone, we don't know who's on the play, anything else. I do think that the Brazen Borrower alone is enough to put an advantage in Rax's, or I'm sorry, in Eternally Surprised court. Just having a main deck answer to opposing Murktides is going to be so huge, right? You are able to allow one Murktide to resolve and still have an answer for it, which is absolutely massive. Both players having the same basic base, so you don't have to. There's no of who's going to be able to leverage their wastelands a little bit better, to be totally honest. But I'm excited to see the way that this goes. Again, both these players are just two of the top tier players on our Discord. Every single week, or not every week, but they're with us almost every or a consistent amount of weeks on Saturdays, and are always at the top tables, just showing us their chops on every deck that they play.
I am now realizing that my dog took my blue light glasses. That's why I was looking for them because that light shining in was burning my eyes. But yes, everything you said was correct. The Delver mirror is extremely skill intensive, and it's going to be one of those things that the where I'm going to be interested in looking at the two cards most in this matchup, besides of course removal, is going to be Stifle and Daze. Is who's going to convert their stifles?
That is going to be huge, right? The only things that Stifles are actually able to hit are going to be the fetch lands and Delver flips, correct? Um, so that is
Mhm.
going to be one of the most interesting aspects of this. Of course, with it being known information of both of them knowing how many Stifles you're on, there is some amount of play around that you're able to put in. But if someone's put in a situation that they are forced to play into the Stifle, like it's going to be a major blowout, right? Just gives you that additional wasteland all of a sudden.
Yeah, and of course, Corey, yeah, I do wear blue blockers because of the fact I stare at computer screens all day. I have 3 screens going at work every single day. Of
And the
course
day
I
with a
need to.
fried brain.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I actually need to pull up our chat right now to get the info. Do we know who is on the play at the moment?
I do believe since it's lower bracket, it is roll off.
It is going to be. Again, this is the finals of the lower bracket. The winner here is going to be going on to face Tensai. Because this is a double elimination bracket, there's going to be an interesting aspect of it. Tensai will be guaranteed on the play as the winner of the upper bracket. However, the person coming from the lower bracket has a bit of an uphill climb besides that as well. The Delver player of choice that will be going on is going to have to win 2 sets of matches in order to be crowned the champion, while Tensai is only going to need to convert one. Um, it's a little bit of the downside of these double elimination brackets, but we do want to make sure the winner of the upper bracket is given their free elimination as well. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens there as well. I can't give a hand of who, or I can't give a thought of who would be better set up against Tensai. I think it would virtually be the exact same, with some minor fluctuations, basically based off the Brazen Bar or main board again.
I
But we'll
agree
have
with
to
that
see.
completely. That assessment is completely accurate. I know in the past, like Repo Cheap has said that once sudden edict was printed, the Delver game changed, and it definitely helped out. But I know the Delver game is also very hard for curses to beat, days, force of will, force of negation. All those things are things that curses really does want to go against. But to be honest, it's Tensai. Like, we don't really need anything, more or confidence than that, than it's just Tensai piloting a deck.
Very, very true. Again, as we were talking about earlier, just one of our incredibly flexible players. Again, these other two, both Racked and Internally Surprised, are also notably flexible in terms of the decks that they can play at a high skill level. And that's one of the most threatening
Ooh,
things that all these players bring to us when they come to an invitation. It's just that
speaking of
unpredictability.
threats, this is one of the best ones in the Delver mirror. It's both of them turn 1 Delver. Let's see who gets the
Yo,
first flip.
Yo, both turn
Oh,
one
Rax gets
signed
it first.
Delvers, baby. Oh my goodness, I love this. So low key, Rax is also a signed card collector. Probably one of the biggest ones on our Discord, to be honest. Rax's collection is just absolutely amazing. And here's the question: how many signed cards from him am I going to get to see here? Am I just going to get to completely fanboy out this entire match? I'm so excited.
I'm sure you also have most of these A's as well.
Ooh, we have second Delver coming down. We're seeing 3 Delvers in the first 2 turns. Oh, and in addition of a Dragon Rage Channeler.
No days or anything on the Dragon Rage channeler. I wonder if okay.
Waste.
Wasteland. Let's play on the same amount of resources, but the Delver did not flip from surprise. And we do have a DRC here.
What I love so much about these wasteland low resource matchups that are Delver and Tempo mirrors, right, is figuring out whether or not wastelanding is actually correct. So Eternally Surprised is down, or is going second in terms of mana production, like actually
Oh,
putting lands into play, and is
oh,
also behind on board. So it's one of those
this is
situations where it's like,
aggressive.
is this wasteland actually good? Am I going to be able to catch up on board if I'm removing one of my own mana sources as well? And Prez,
This
you
is
are
very
absolutely
aggressive.
right.
This is this is extremely aggressive.
This is an upkeep brainstorm to set up for an additional flip, right? I absolutely love this, especially after Eternally was unable to get a flip themselves. You're gonna
I
be able to get a
agree.
Kraken on 6, get Eternally down to almost half their initial life total, and we see a bolt on top. Absolutely gorgeous. We have one of
So
the Mola
that
bolts.
puts if we have land drop here, oh, we do have land drop here.
Hmm.
Oh, this is aggressive. Um, it's also free. Hey, free from Stifle. This is depending on the context of Rax's hand. Like you just need a sorcery and a creature in there, so that's a DRC trigger plus a ponder no, there's nothing else you can do off of 1 mana that's like that. But this DRC could get turned on right now.
Um,
No,
it's unlikely just because I'm expecting us to go ahead and see a bolt on the other Delver. The Dragon Rage channel, I don't think you spend because it's never going to be able to block these Delvers. Again, you are in the aggressive spot, but it looks like Rax is deciding to go ahead and let Eternally go to his turn.
this tells me that the bolt is going to the Delver.
We'll have to see the way that this goes. See a second
Ooh.
wasteland come down. And we're starting to see why that first wasteland was spent so quickly.
Yeah, makes sense if you have double wasteland. Oh ho ho ho
That is
ho.
another thing that can be stifled. That is right.
Oh, that's a good stifle.
I
Oh,
like
that
that a
feels
lot.
bad.
And then you next turn get to play around days in
Oh,
theory, but we're having force stifle back. This still is an amazing conversion for Brax to be able to turn
yeah,
that stifle into hitting both a stifle
a
and the
him.
force out of hand. Yeah.
That's a him. That's good. That's dirty. Hey, you left that out with the intention of like, okay, I can bolt you, but the stifle felt so free.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, this is putting Eternally down to 10 off of that force.
Mm,
So this is this is amazing
free.
because it's actually threatening lethal. If like
Yep.
you have to block if Rax gives you the choice because you know about this bolt. Carve, oh my
Hardfire. That
goodness.
turns it on. Does
Yes,
it
it
turn it
does.
on?
Yes, that well no,
No,
land
Tarfire is an
tribal
instant.
instant. Yeah, land
Land
tribal
tribal
instant.
instant. Do we have a do we get a DRC trigger? Did Rax remember
Sure.
the DRC trigger?
Looks like we've been missing some of the DRC triggers, but again, this is going to be good enough
Oh
even
no,
without it.
keeps with DRC. Sends in
This
the
is real good.
bugs.
This is real good. Is out of mana sources now.
Ooh,
Oh, we
flip
see a
bolt.
bolt. So this gets interesting. So when you bolt, if you bolt a Delver, DRC is turned on. It then has Delirium for Rax's side. So it's essentially making another threat again. You're at 4 and you know about a bolt yourself as well.
It's very tight. It's okay. It goes directly towards the Delver, but doesn't attack with a Delver. I like this.
Yeah, you are in the blocking situation now. You need your Delver, you need your Insect to trade with the others. But you
Fetching
have
for Mountain.
and now you're able to play around days, so Force can't interact with this known Lightning Bolt in hand. This does seem to be wrapped up.
Yeah, Corey, that's a good point. Rax is very patient. We've watched Rax on they have been very, very patient professional when it comes to these sorts of matchups because of the fact that it's so tight. And do we see here the bolt finally? Yep.
Down to 1 in combat, Bolt on the stack.
I I will point
No
to one of the best mirror matches I've ever watched, which was Rax versus Tensai with the mirror with Sneak and Show.
you,
That was a great
you know
matchup.
what? You want me to say something that make you feel old? That was a year ago.
Oh
That
gosh.
was our winter invitational last year.
Oh, it
Last
was.
February. How
Oh
time has
man.
flied. And of note, both of those players still with us here today.
Oh
Let's go ahead
yeah.
and jump over to sideboarding, shall we? Let's look
Yep.
at looks like we have Rax's list up on screen. I'll go ahead and go over and you can tell me what you're thinking. So Rax's list, or they're well, we talked about how similar their lists are, minus like the Tarfires, Brazen Bar, or Chain Lightning flex slots. However, the sideboards are where things get incredibly different. So we're going to be able to talk about two very disparate sideboards, very likely. One is Rax is playing one Alpine Moon, one Blue Elemental Blast, one End of Festivities, the new Elves Hate, one Flusterstorm, excuse me, one Flusterstorm, one Grafdigger's Cage, two Meltdown, two Red Elemental Blast, two Surgical Extraction, one Brazen Borrower, one Force Negation, one Hull Reacher, and one Submerge. What do you like in this matchup here?
So I first want to respond to Charles' comment. Yes, I agree. That was a very masterclass on how the Delver Mirror should be played. So, other than that, what I like here are of course going to be the blast effects because Murktide is a thing, as well as the fact that Expressive Iteration is the best draw spell in this mirror, and you want to get rid of that. So I want to bring in the Blast, and I want to bring in the Brazen Borrower and not the Force Negation, the Hull Breacher. I really
Absolutely.
do think that Hull Breacher is a X-axis in this, or Z-axis in this entire matchup, and I think that will be a pivotal card at some point if Rax can land it.
It's interesting
Or surprise.
in how expensive it is compared to everything else. So we saw in that first game just how much the multiple wastelands and dazes that are both being played by both players are able to really slow the or really prevent you from getting heavy or like deep on land drops, right? So that's kind of the one issue of playing Hull Breachers if you're expecting the game to go on like that. But man, if you land a Hull Breacher, and or if in response to a brainstorm, you've just won the game, right? So I absolutely agree. I would like bringing in if we're able to find the additional slot that you want to take out. Let's jump over real quick as these players are shuffling up to Eternally Surprise. Eternally Surprise is playing a little bit different in the sideboard. We have one Flusterstorm, one Grafdigger's Cage, two Meltdown, two Pyroblast, two Surgical Extraction, one Null Rod, one Torpor Orb, two Blood Moon, one Brazen Borrower, one Narset instead of the Hull Breacher, and one Rough Tumble. What are you liking here?
Oh, bringing it back with a rough tumble.
Yeah, right.
Um, I okay, so honestly, rough tumble pretty good right here. Kills non-delirious DRCs, mops up young pyromancer tokens, stuff like that. So rough tumble is pretty solid. Other than that, once again, we see another Z access card with Narset Parter Veils in the space where Hull Breacher is. I could totally see that coming into here, but at the same time, it's going to depend because the fact that surprise is going to be on the play, so therefore you're going to keep the dazes in. So for a 3 mana play is going to be a little bit harsh. Other than that, the Brazen Borrower is excellent, and of course the blast effects. And if you have the room, I wouldn't mind the Flusterstorm.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It is interesting thinking about the cards you can bring out. I know I'm incredibly biased with how much I say I want to take out Force of Will and Force Negations in matchups like these. I am really interested to see what these players will be taking out if they'll show us that at the end of this game. Um,
If I'm the control deck in this matchup where my traditional standstill versus Delver, I only cut down to like two Force of Wills. I do agree with you in that cutting Force of Will because you are two for one in yourself. It can feel really bad, but there are times when that is necessary.
oh,
In the
100%.
Delver mirror, what was that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm saying 100%.
Yeah. So, in the Delver Mirror, though, I do believe that your mana and your card value in hand is significantly different. And so, because of that, I don't like Force Negation at all in this matchup. I think that should be cut immediately for Flusterstorm or Blast. But I could even see going down to one or zero Force of Wills. Now, of course, I'm not a Delver player, so Delver players in the chat, please let me know if I am completely incorrect in that.
Well, that metric that Delver and tempo players in general, infect players included, used for so long, which was board out Force of Wills in these grindy matchups, it kind of got put on its head. I don't want to blame fire design, but in the Oko era specifically,
I agree
where all of a sudden you
completely.
couldn't do that because you had these haymaker threats that you needed to two for one because they accrued so much value. You don't have that as much in these current builds, except for one card in particular that's really terrifying, and that's Murktide Regent. Like, if there's a card
Exactly.
that you want to be forcing that you're willing to two for one yourself on, it's really the Murktide Regent. It's like forcing an expressive iteration doesn't feel good because you're essentially like you're afraid of the value that EI provides, but you're already doing that to yourself with the force. So it's one of those things where it's like, how much do you fear Murktide Regent, and how much do you think you can deal with it independently with your blast effects?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I was thinking is Murktide Region. Murktide Region is the key in this. And in this type of thing, this is a matchup where your primary remove is gonna be Bolt, 2 damage or 3 damage effects like the Chain Lightning or Tarfire, and Red Elemental Blast. This is not a Source of Plowshares deck. This is not a deck that's gonna be running Graveyard Hate. You are playing all of your Murktides. You're not siding anything out.
We are seeing Eternally Surprised doing a fetch land pass, while Brax is able to put out the early Delver threat, able to be the first one on board, but Eternally this time has the mana advantage, and hopefully we'll be able to leverage that.
Yeah. And once again, that turn one Delver, you see whoever flips the Delver is immediately favored. Surprise stumbled for about 2 turns with the Delver, and it just crushed him.
Yeah, so
Actually,
much of this deck is meant to be snowballing while you have the advantage, right?
how
Stifles, for instance, not a fantastic card if you're playing a control role, but if you are putting on pressure, if you're the one who is ending the game, man, Stifle just buying you an additional turn just turns into such an advantage or such a powerful card.
how good is it to know that like Delver is back in Delver versus Delver that didn't have any Delver?
For me as a Doomsday player, it's pretty good.
Ooh. Here we go. We see the stifle
Ooh,
again.
the Stifle on Wasteland play working again, and is this going to be
Yeah,
no
it it
resolving?
it resolved. It resolved. Oof, the feels bad. Wow, 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 wow. So
Yep,
that is one of those things that Surprise and I talked about a lot before leading up to this event. He actually gave me an entire list of every single effect that can be stifled in
yep.
the entire in every matchup.
Yep,
So
he was sending that around and said he was keeping that list close by him in every single match. I
yeah,
love it so much.
exactly. And it's one of those things that stifle when you don't expect it and you play into it, it feels bad. But when you can clearly look at the deck list and say, "Oh shit, there's two stifles," that's like the perfect amount where okay, I have to play around this, but at the same time, I really don't have to. Like, should I? And like, it feels bad.
X number of years ago, Merfolk players, and that was still a deck. But they were there was a big thing in the community for a while of playing a singleton days or joking about playing a singleton days,
I
just
remember
because
that.
you do it once. You do it once, and then your opponent from that point forward plays around it as much as possible. And that
Oh yeah.
threat alone just gives you value. And that's the value of Stifle sometimes. It's really hard, it turns out, to play around both Stifle and Wasteland on early turns. You know what I mean? And so you
I
just kind of have to pick the poison sometimes, even when it's known information, even when you know the exact number of stifles. Sometimes you're just like, all right, I either lose this land to stifle or I lose it to wasteland. Which am I trying to play around?
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'll be the first one to say it. I hate stifle. I've gotten stifled so many times.
I love
And it just
stifle.
feels so bad. Oof.
Oh,
Blast
that
of the
blast is so
Ponder.
beautiful. Oh my
Oh,
goodness, talk about
days.
gorgeous. Days
Is that
pickup.
an alpha?
I believe that's beta.
Oh, it's beta? Oh, that's hot.
Have that
Though I
days
like
pickup.
that fight. I like that fighting over the fighting over the Ponder because
Mhm.
at this point, right now Surprise is trying to turn on the DRC. And every single cantrip brings further to that closer to that point. So I really do think that that blast, though aggressive, was good.
Well, it's just amazing how much DRC in conjunction with the cantrips just allows you to absolutely churn through your deck. You just see so much cardboard. And if you're casting just natural ponders while your opponent is casting DRC ponders, they're just going to snowball so much advantage and selection over you.
Okay,
Yes, of course. Knowing Raxit is probably an Italian one as well.
uh, a true person of class. Let me tell
Mhm.
you. Okay, as a fellow connoisseur of foreign borders that are in Italian, yes, a true connoisseur of class. Ooh, flips over off of the red of a blue. So if anybody has an Italian foreign white border, tundra, hit me up. Been searching.
Yo, let me can I just really quickly post my entire wants list in chat real fast? Like just like while we got people here. No, for real though. Like hook the homie up with the tundra. We're going ahead and seeing fetch here.
I know, Prez. I know. We have to talk about that
The one
because
thing for I'm
if I
sorry, go
get the
ahead.
foreign white border tundra, I'm getting I got the foreign white border UC from you, and then I'm just in at that point. I need to find a replacement for my other UC.
The one concerning things for Eternally side right now is he does seem to be falling behind on the card advantage side. It looks like he has one card in hand after this days. Of course, he has the
Ooh,
island in there as well again, but
I do like dazing. Wait, you're tossing expressive iteration? Oh, because it turns on Dragon Rage Chandler.
well, it got dazed, right?
No, no, no. So, Eternally Dazed, the Rax's EI, but Eternally binned his own EI
Oh, off of the surveil trigger?
off the Surveil trigger.
Oh,
Yeah, I
interesting.
can't cast it right now either. It's a 2 mana spell. Oh, but it is one of those things that it does turn on the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Finally, it gives us the sorcery. I do believe. Do we have a creature in there?
I'm
I
not
don't think
sure
we
to
have.
be totally honest with you.
I don't think we got a creature. Oh, we got Bolt. You're the Delver.
I like converting that right now, especially with that known information about the blue blast in hand.
I agree. I agree. Don't even give it the shot.
Of note, of course, there is the known island still in hand. That was sending a Volk out, so we know there's another mana source on Eternally Surprise in hand. And another EI. I mean, we've seen 2 days so far. Show us the third one. Nope, it's
Nope.
resolving.
Nope, nope, nope. I think we got at least one land, and I think it was like a cantrip or something like that in hand from known information.
It's a little unknown because the brainstorm just resolved, but
Oh, there was a brainstorm. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
man,
eh,
expressive iteration when you haven't made your land drop yet is just such an amazing card. Just
Okay,
fantastic.
if you want to hear some hot takes about expressive iteration, listen to our podcast, hit exclamation point podcast in the chat. We just did a recent ban an episode where we talked about the recent legacy ban, and then there you can hear what we think about the Ragavan ban. It's a good listen, and we put out some like good points, and like also talk about like how much we hope Watsy like listens to us.
Playing the Scalding Shard from Exile. We're gonna go ahead and crack it. We're just falling so behind. Like Rax has the cards in hand over eternally, but is just unable to deploy to the board or interact with the creatures at the moment. You know what they say? Dying with cards in hand is a way to just make your card advantage not matter.
Like that is disgusting. Why? Why is expressive iteration just have to be so good, but
Run
only in
food
blue
chain,
red?
baby.
Why can't we get like a blue black version of it that's good? That's not Baleful Strix. Because it has to be a lot better to beat out Baleful Strix.
Oh, and we see Murktide come down. We've already seen one Pyroblast, or I'm sorry, Red Elemental Blast go ahead and get spent.
Ooh,
There's only one more blast effect that's going to be able to deal with this, but there is
yeah.
also Petty Theft. However, this
There's
resolving
yeah,
is very scary.
yeah. I mean opposing Murktide Regents as well, just being bigger. But yeah, I think there's only one more Reb and the blast, and then the Brazen Bomber.
Beautiful
But even
old
that
border side Dan
temporary
Scott
solution.
Ponder.
Yep.
Absolutely gorgeous. Of note, I do believe that is a blue Shadow Sig as well, which just looks beautiful along with that old border.
Oh yeah.
Man, I think Rax might be triggering me just a little bit. I might be going and buying some more signed cards after this. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I already put Archons in my cart, so
Let's see. Tanking hard about this.
I think after every single invitational, I've built a new legacy deck, and I just can't help it.
That's why it goes. It gets us so excited about this format. You know what I mean?
Oh
You
yeah,
see some cool tech being played, and it's like, oh, Torpor Orb. Again, from the Invitational exactly 1 year ago. Torpor Orb, let's buy a bunch of them.
I have two in my sideboard right now. After
Amazing.
after that
Oh,
invitational, I got two.
found
Oh, the
second
last
blast.
Reb.
So that is all the blast effects that that Eternally has to worry about. We've seen blue blast and the two red blasts.
I do think here though, like this Delver is just gonna go the distance. We don't have any other removal spells. Hell, there's not gonna be Rex doesn't have oh no.
The second
Rex
threat
has
comes
End of
down.
Festivities. He's Eternally Surprise has what's called Rough Tumble.
Yep. So it is
So
bolts as your only answers at this point. Along with Tarfire. Tarfire can deal with
Starfire,
this insect.
Starfire.
Cannot deal with this DRC.
Yeah, DRC is turned on. Creature, instant, sorcery, land.
Yeah, this is a scary place to be for sure.
I I really think when looking at this whole situation though, Rax might be looking at like what can be most effective turn in the next game based upon the information provided. And oh, okay.
That's pretty perfect. Those are those are two very relevant cards here. You have an immediate flying blocker in the form of Murktide. Of course, your DRC is cannot block when it's flying, and your Delver will not have flipped in time. So
Surprise
this is
has
the
so
only blocker
many
that could have been put in the way.
there's still so many good cards that Surprise can find. Bolt does it, Tarfi sorry, not
Chain
different
Lightning.
list. Bolt does it, Chain Lightning does it. There's still at least two more bolts from my count. One more one more Chain Lightning, the Brazen Borrower. It's still very, very close. But if none of those cards immediately present themselves, this is gonna buy Rax just enough time.
Well, we've been talking about how Rax has been ahead on cards, but just behind on board, and Murktide up. Jeez Louise. Alright,
Oh,
so now
I
you
see
need removal
Chonky
spell?
Dragon and raise my Chonky Dragon.
Yeah. So the issue here is now your Murktide is forced to be held back constantly. You have no more blast to remove yours, but Eternally still has his blast to get to convert on your opposing Murktide. You need to get removal spell here for the Delver. Alternatively, if you just draw, if Rax just gets another Murktide effect and is able to put that down as another blocker while growing his own other Murktide, that's going to be a massive way to stabilize his board again. But right now,
It
you need
is
other Murktide or removal spell.
yeah, it
Power
is
Fire is so good.
technically yeah, it is technically a, smaller, but it doesn't matter. Oh, okay.
I like that.
I like that as well. And a Delver.
What's actually
Rax turned
great
this
about
around.
that what's so great about get actually spending the petty theft there is you're going to be able to spend out the brazen borrower as well, which is another blocker to try to interact and just be
Mhm.
able to like allow you to swing in and start pressuring yourself down. Wow, what an amazing game. Again, every one of these
This is
cantrips is
very
so
turned around.
risky. Every ponder that you see when you're in Rax's seat is representing potentially getting to the bolt and just immediately ending it. Another
Yeah,
ponder,
exactly.
another shot.
I fully agree. And we're seeing ponder, find a card, keep, ponder again. Great guy, you got a bingo?
Yo!
Yo, post it in the Discord in under the it's general, right? Hey, and then Bear will reach out to you.
Brainstorm off the top looks real good here.
Ooh, that does. And
Oh, come
we
on.
couldn't find the land to redeploy the Murktide. Oh, fuck. Oh, this is tight. Now now surprise is on the back foot.
You swing with the Murktide, right?
I think you swing with the
Because removal
Murktide
spell is
because you have
lethal to
Brazen
you
Power
anyway.
to you have Brazen Power to block.
Brainstorm first. All right, let's see it.
Do we have a land drop? If you don't have a land drop, you don't have a you
Well,
can't
you have
attack.
you have your insect. So you have your insect to block theirs.
Yeah,
In
but the
theory,
yeah, removal spell is gonna be pointed at your face anyway, so
yeah,
yeah, it makes sense.
yeah. We are just on the razor's edge.
I
Seeing if
mean,
Rax
what
can
does
claw back and get the 2-0 here.
Russ can do it. I think Russ can do it, but they need to find another removal spell of some kind. Because of the fact that we don't have access they don't have access to a haste spell like a what's it called? Oh, the Sprite Dragon.
Like a dash Ragavan. This
Oh, oh, like a dash Ragavan. But this is,
is very aggressive.
dare I say, ballsy?
8, 11 puts your opponent down to 6, so they're dead to double bolt.
Do we just have double bolt?
DRC,
DRC.
can't block.
No,
Ponder, Surveil.
it can
Oh, this
block.
is
Can it?
no, when it has Delirium, it can't block.
No, no, no. It attacks each combat if able. It can still block.
Oh, that's so right. You're very true. I'm mixing up my thoughts. You're right. It
So
can block here. My apologies. All right.
so it's turned on. It's a 3/3. There's
Yep. You
creature, instant
you do have
sorcery in
blocker
it.
here. And do that trade.
Yeah, you have to. Is Rax gonna take this down? I mean, we have a chunky dragon.
Yeah, you have Murktide blocker. Looks like that's what we're going for. You can swing around Murktide and still have and then flash in your own blocker.
Oh,
So you swing
fuck.
with Dragon and Delver. They're Eternity's forced to trade with your own Murktide. Oh,
Yeah.
that's actually really good. This is a fantastic position.
This is so close. This is so close. I think yeah, the swing is forced here. Error because have to trade. You still have
You hit
another
for
flying
3.
you put Rax can
Oh,
turn
this
this
is so good.
around.
Bolt off the top is still lethal, but, like,
Bolt is off the top.
well, it's land off the top. Oh
Can
my
Rax do
goodness.
this?
I thought this game was done, I'll be totally honest. That's
Oh,
okay,
okay.
though, because you just
Th
flashed
th
in
there
petty
there's a
oh,
brazen
you need the
power.
answer for oh,
Oh!
oh, the 3rd!
Oh!
That's so good!
Oh! Do we have a response? Do we have anything? We have a
No.
force wheel? It's a
I think
4/4 too.
I believe Rack just has 2 cards in hand, or is this 1?
1 card in hand. That's a rip.
Wow. That
This
is
is a
so
rip.
well done. Just a 4/4, still threatens lethal, and you can't attack into, with Brazen Borrower for free.
Dragon Rage Channeler? Okay. What is in Rax's hand? It's gotta be a land. It's gotta be a land that Rax is just holding. It's gotta be like a fetch land.
Or it could just be a force.
A
Like a
force would
force
also
and
be
you haven't
like
had other and you don't have other blue card to convert it on the Murktide.
yeah. Uh,
You you can't attack in with your if you're eternally surprised. Like
no, you can't.
you need lethal. But yeah, even if you stay back, you're dead right now. Like you need cantrip into other removal spell. DRC is
Yeah.
good. No, DRC isn't good as blocker because you've delved away everything.
Yeah, everything's delved away. Oh,
Oh,
it's
and
a
it is
DRC.
DRC.
It's a
That's it.
DRC. It's not turned on.
That's it. That's all she
That's
wrote.
it. It's GG. Rax is
What
turned
a
on.
fantastic match. We're seeing a swing. You get to block one, take the other one, go down to 3, or when you're at 3, and it's just done. Exacxies.
Oh,
Try to block. Do you not have delirium? Wait, does
does
Rax
Rax
not
not
have
have
delirium?
delirium?
Do we just assume that there was delirium the whole time? All right, this is the most important part.
We're needing
Does Rax
confirmation
have
from our cable
delirium?
spotter. I think I
Rax
I think
Rax does have delirium.
we do have delirium. Rax says delirium. It's
Feature
GG's.
sorcery, instant land. Wow. What a
It's
turn! I'll be
GG's.
very honest. I thought Rax was done for earlier that game, but
I totally
again,
did as
just
well.
skillfully piloted it. The real worry that we had was that Rax was unable to get to board, and while they were ahead of cards, they were unable to be utilizing them for so long. But man, that being able to stabilize with their own Murktide and then be able to convert those cards from hands was just enough. What a fantastic match! Big
It
congrats to Eternally Surprised. Eternally Surprised again on that grind all season long. I want to say this is the 3rd invitational in a row for Eternally Surprised to be here. And again, putting on a great performance. Getting to the finals of the bottom bracket is no small feat whatsoever. And big congrats. But Rax, with the non 61 card version, is going to be going on to face Tensai in the final rounds. Oh, just an absolutely amazing match to
oh,
watch.
wow. That
Saw some
was
horses come out.
that was masterclass performance on everybody's his behalf. Each player played at their top right there, and that was very impressive to watch. And exactly what we talked about here with the boarding plans. If you look at Rax brought in the Hull Breacher, the Blast, and the Brazen Borrower. Cut 3 of the Force of Wills with the Force of Negation, and instead on the draw, drop the Days instead of the last Force of Will. That is awesome to see. Uh, honestly, like, uh, I I have to say that was a masterclass in the Delver mirror. I'm glad that that's on camera because we really need to show that off more.
Yeah, that was a really fantastic match. Charbel showing a little bit of invitational history, remembering Tensai losing the spring invitation of the last year to Champagne from drawing Presendus in hand while playing Elves. Um, Man, I love these invitationals so much. Again, if you see what we're doing here today, you see these amazing players who have grounded out for the past 3 months to get here today, and you want to get involved. If you want to show us your chops and how good you are at your own legacy decks as well, go ahead and hit exclamation point Discord. Join us on or join us in our events. Again, we do weekly Saturday events. We do weekday Warrior events, just like late at night on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We do monthly leagues, which is a really great way to get introduced to the Discord, get to play against people over a certain month. It's a fantastic time. And man, watching matches like that amazing, amazing mirror in between Rex and Internally Surprised, that just gets me so excited about Legacy, man. Man, I think tonight after I'm done with all this, I'm probably hitting up the LFG channel again and just grinding out some more.
Oh, I was last night. It was great. Hey, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like after all this, like, if there's no bracket reset, like, I'm down. Let's jam.
Yeah, absolutely. We are
All
probably gonna do a
right.
little bit of a small break, let Rax get a little bit of time off before they go
Yep.
ahead and play Tensai. Also, just make sure we have Tensai. One of the big things that we talk about when it comes to these is whether or not it's an advantage or a disadvantage to win through the winners bracket, right? So Tensai has basically spent 2 full rounds off, right? If you're an NA player, that's an advantage. You get to sit there and rest. You don't need to be like working your brain while your opponents are taxing themselves to the lower bracket. Although there's an issue here. Tensai is not an NA player. Tensai is in Dubai, where thankfully this isn't like other invitationals where the final round has been happening at like 1 a.m. for him. But this one is still getting a little bit later in the day. And Tensai, of course, has not been active for the last 2 hours while we've been playing these last 2 rounds. So there is some question about, is Tensai at an advantage because he was able to get the break, or is he at a disadvantage because he's been able to like just kind of sit there and stagnant, not be like in the zone actively playing Magic? You know what I mean? We'll have to see the way that this works out.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But we're gonna take a short break, everybody, and we'll be right back here with our finals. Don't go away.
Take care, fam.